All right. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to go through our tutorial for learning how to make a propeller in Fusion 360 that goes along with our propeller car project. So our learning intentions for today will be how to make our basic propeller, how to incorporate separate 3D model files into a design as a derivative in Fusion 360, and we're going to experiment with the effects of angle of attack, propeller curvature, and number of propeller blades. Okay, so you'll see a few different design options as we go through, and you'll be in full control of those different things. Okay. So some of the tools we're going to be using. We're going to be using the sketch and extrude function like we usually do. After we sketch and extrude different things, we're going to be using the pattern repeat function. And we're going to be using construction sketches quite heavily to make sure we constrain our propellers properly so they can fit within the requirements of the task and the 3D printers. This is going to be a lot more detailed in terms of the sketch tools that we use. So spline, line, and trim tools, which I've used in the last project as well, will all be up for use. So after we're done, to know you're successful, your propeller will generate thrust and make your propeller car move after you've laser cut it and put it together. Your propeller will be structurally stable and 3D printable, so it won't be too thin. When you actually have it, it'll feel rigid and solid and have a bit of strength to it, okay? Not too much, not too little. If it's too much, it's too heavy. If it's too little, it's too weak. Also on top of that, your propeller will spin smoothly, so that's evenly weight distributed, will spin smoothly as well, okay? So without further ado, let's go to Fusion 360. Okay, so here we have the completed car, and this is something I've developed over a few years and used to make it with Adobe Illustrator and our and Fusion 360 or CAD programs. Now I just make the whole thing there. You already have your manufacturing plan for the flat components. Now we're going to be focusing on the components here. So what you have is this, a model without a propeller. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new file and start that propeller design, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is add a new design, or go File, New Design. And we're going to start sketching out some of the dimensions that we need, okay? So as always, we need to turn on our origin, and we are going to sketch out from the center. Always we base our model around the center. But in this case, we're going to go from the center out 70 millimeters because we want to repeat the thing that we make around that central axis, okay? So this central axis here always be in the center of your model, okay? If you make it on the side, it'll be your green axis. If you make it on this side, it'll be the red axis you want to see at the center of your model. Okay, so here, I'm actually going to do something slightly different. I'm going to extrude a surface, okay? Before I do that, though, I'm going to sketch in our dimensions. So I'm going to do a corner rectangle in construction mode. And I'm going to make sure that is 70 millimeters out, okay? Our maximum dimension is 140 millimeters across our propeller blade. So we'll leave it there. This I will dimension, I'm hitting D, and I'll dimension that to 20. And I'll dimension this to the center. That's 10. Fantastic. So that should be fully constrained. This should be in line with that. Okay. So I'm going to finish that sketch, and that's just going to sit there as a guide. Okay. So when we're modeling and sketching, that'll be our kind of framework, our box that we have to fit inside. So what I'm going to do here is make a surface, a curved surface, and I'm also going to make another surface to trim that out. And we have to do that up here in surface mode, okay? So all of the modeling we've been doing here is this blue solid mode, we're going to go to surface mode. Okay? This is how you make a basic propeller. There's other ways to make a more advanced one, which I'll show you later. So to start, I'm going to go here, and we're going to draw the curvature of our blade and bring it all the way out to the end of our area here. So I'll go add sketch. Okay, and I'm going to make it go around. I'm going to draw a center rectangle, and I'm going to make it 20 by 20, because that is our max dimension that we can sit in as well. Okay, so notice how that lines up with the construction sketch we made before. All right, so I'm going to go to my spline tool. I'm going to click off construction mode, and I'm going to make a curvature, a curve that starts up around this top left area, goes into this top right quadrant, and then goes back to a similar area down here. Okay, so I'm going to count back a few little squares. I'm going to go to here, out to here, and then down to a corresponding point there, and I'm going to click OK. All right, so it's a single blue solid line. You won't be able to make this into a 3D object if it's in this dotted line type, okay? So if you have accidentally made it like that, so say if your line looks like that, and it's all dotted, all you need to do is select the line and click off this line type construction. It's like a toggle, all right? I'm going to finish that sketch. And in surface mode, I'm going to do an extrude, okay? So not solid, surface mode. If you don't see these orange tools here, you're not in surface mode. So here, I'm clicking on my line, and I'm hitting extrude. All right, now I can pull this out all the way to 70. I can look at the numbers there, and I'll know when I'm at 70, or I can just type in the number 70. So there I am. That's a new body. Fantastic. So that's the start of my propeller blade. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to make another surface that looks almost identical to a cookie cutter. Okay? So I'm going to make a cookie cutter shape, and we'll run what we call a trim function. Okay? So I'll do that now. So here I'm going to add another sketch, and this is where you get to sketch out what your blade looks like from the top, okay? So I'm going to use a solid line, and some critical parts of your design that you can get wrong at this point. You want a small little node connecting all of your propeller blades together, okay? So you want to make this initial sketch here, there's a line that goes here. You want to make that fairly small, okay? And I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm going to make this go up about 3 millimeters. So I'm going to type in the number 3. I'm going to go OK. I'm going to make sure that that is a solid line. So you see here, I haven't made a solid line, so I'm just going to turn that off, make it into a proper solid line. I'm going to go 3 millimeters down here as well. Notice that I'm drawing out from the origin, from the main axis. Okay, and now I get to use the spline tool to make the shape of my propeller from above. So I'm going to start here. And really, it's up to you. The only rule is you need to stay within this yellow square, okay? So you can see here. If you ever get off your sketch plane, you can just click here. I'm going to move out here. I'm going to go back to this part. And then from there, I'm going to come up to this front part here. okay? I'm going to stop that line segment there by clicking on this little green tick. Why is that closed off? Okay, for some reason it's made a fully enclosed shape, which I didn't want it to do, but that's okay. I'm going to start from the front this time. So I'm going to be a little bit more straight as I go around the front. Okay, I'll go to there. I'll green tick. And then I'll start my second line by going back and then up to about here. Okay. So what I've done this time is I've used that end line there to attach to. Okay, so what that's done here, this little purple bit, is it's projected onto my sketch plane. Okay. Now, what you need to see here is a continuous line. Okay, so I don't see a continuous line there. I need to draw one in. So between here and here. Great. Let's see. So here and here, I've still got a construction line. So you've got to iron out all these little problems before you go to the next phase. There we go. As soon as you see it turn light blue like this, you know that you've got a shape that you can use, okay? And it should look like that, passing through your model, okay? I'm going to finish that sketch. I'm going to select that shape, and I'm going to extrude this as a surface as well. Okay, I'm going to extrude it to 20. And for the type of extrusion, I'm going to make it symmetric. And I'm going to make the whole length 20 rather than one side, okay? So you see what that does? I've got my little cookie cutter shape here, and I'll show you how trim works next, okay? So just to review, we've started from our profile plane for this extrusion. We've gone symmetric from both sides of that sketch, a distance of for a total of 20 millimeters. And that's a new body as well. Now, you'll have to allow me a couple of different tries to get this go. I don't always get this right the first time. But the function we're going to use here is trim. Okay, so the trim tool is this one. So when they say trim tool, they mean what's the thing we're using to cut, and that's our cookie cutter. And then after you've chosen that, you can choose the shape that you would like to cut. So anything in red will be cut out. So what you actually want to do is select the outside of the cookie cutter and go OK. Then after that, you can go to different bodies. You have body 1 and body 4, and all you need to do here is make that body invisible. And there, you have the start of your propeller blade surface, okay? So what do we do next? We're going to go and start modeling something as a surface, okay? So this is a surface here that has no volume at all, okay? It's just essentially a connection between two different lines. So what I'm going to do here is thicken out that surface. So I'm going to go to my surface tool, modify, and see if I can find the thicken function. It might be in solid. Well, where is it? Oh, there we go. So under create, you go to thicken make a surface into a solid essentially, okay? After you go there to create and thicken, you can go in and make that volume. So I'm going to make mine 1.5 millimeters, okay? And I'll go okay on that. And now I'm actually not that far from having my propeller done. So what I'm going to do here is add some fillets. A fillet is essentially just a round. I'm going to add 0.5 to the top, and I'll add another one. So I'm going to go on this plus here. Another one there that is 1 millimeter. Okay. I'm going to add, what else? I'm going to go okay on that. And to the back, I'm going to add a couple of chamfers. So up here, chamfer. I'll add one there. Make that 1 millimeter. Won't let me. Maybe I'll use a round instead. So a fillet. Make that 1 millimeter. Doesn't want to do it for me. Okay, I'm going to leave that outside edge alone because it's obviously feeling a little bit sensitive. And maybe the inside edge is feeling a bit sensitive as well. No big deal. You might have more success with your particular shape that you model, but this won't stop us from having a functioning propeller, okay? There's other ways that you can make a propeller as well. So from here, once you have your form, the only reason I did that little round on the front was to make it a little bit aerodynamic. The rest should be fine. So we'll move on to making our actual propeller. So here I have one body here, and what I want to do is make my propeller blades out of it. So I'm going to go to create and down to pattern. I'm going to make it a circular pattern, and this is where we come back to needing that central axis going through. So I'm repeating a body. I've already selected my body here, but if it isn't selected, just click on the body like that. And the axis, I'm going to select like this. All right, and immediately you'll see where your propeller blades will sit. Now, it's really fun to go in and play with what your propeller looks like when you do 5 or 7 or 10 or 2 repetitions in that pattern, okay? So a big part of your experimentation is working out what type of propeller will work the best. Now, I'm going to go with 3. So immediately I'm going to go okay. And you'll see here, it starts looking like a propeller really, really quick. Okay, the last thing I have to do to finish this up is to actually extrude something through the middle that will hold it all together, okay? And through the beauty of this process, we can do that really easily. I'm going to go back to this plane. I'm going to sketch on it from above. And I'm going to make a circle in the center that links all of these surfaces together. All right. I remember at the start, I only went 3 millimeters up and 3 millimeters down from the origin when I made my original sketch for my propeller blade when I was making my cookie cutter. So I know that I won't have to go that much more than 6 millimeters diameter to capture all of these parts together, okay? I'm going to go to 7, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room. And that's all I need to do for that sketch. Now, with that sketch, don't need my origin anymore. With that sketch, I'm going to extrude that in a different way. So it's going to be a solid extrude. It's going from the profile plane, yes, but in terms of my direction, I'm going to go 2 sides, which is similar to symmetric, but I get to determine the measurement for each side of the extrusion. okay? So here, I'm going to bring this up until it covers my model. And what it'll do by default is cut. But what I want it to do here is actually join. It's the difference between removing material or adding material. So I'm going to go up a little bit further. Great. I want that to be fully enveloping my propellers. Okay, and at the back, I want to make sure that I'm coming out all the way and joining all these propellers together nicely. So you want to see a clear circle without any parts active or protruding into that circle, okay? And we're nearly there. The only thing you need to make your propeller functioning from here is a small circle, a small extrusion through the middle. So I'll sketch onto the top. I'll draw out a small center circle. I'll make it about 2 mils. It should be the width of your axle wire that you're using for the propeller. I think it's about 1.5 millimeters. I'm going to add a little bit of space there. 2 mil, good. And then I select that particular thing and I'll hit extrude. And instead of distance, I'll go to object. You can go distance if you want to. And I'm just going to hit the other side. That way, if I change that dimension, that axle hole will always go through, okay? And that is it. We have our propeller there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll save this. I'll call it propeller 1. Or MK1, whatever you want to do. I'll save that. And what I'm going to do here is go back to my original car drawing, okay? And here I will go insert derive. Okay, so what I'm doing is deriving, bringing into this design, a design from somewhere else. So propeller powered car, I'm going to go down to propeller 1. You can also organize it by last updated. Propeller 1, select. It's going to take me to that design. I'm going to select the body that I want and go OK. And it's going to bring it back here. Now it's just a matter of going to this particular body, and it'll go into your bodies file unless you make it as a component first. So I'm going to go here and start to move that around. Okay. I'm going to place that on the end of my propeller, on the end of this attachment, and there's a number of different ways that I can align this, okay? All right, so that's what you're going to do to attach that into your design, okay? To 3D print it, all you need to do is right-click on this, save as mesh like you usually do, make an STL out of it, name it, version it, and make a description of your item there as well, okay? Save that to your downloads. And that is pretty much it, okay? Right, guys, so I'll put that up onto YouTube as soon as I can. That is only one way to make a propeller. There's other things you can do to play with the curvature of a propeller to harness what they call angular velocity, okay? Thanks for listening, everyone, and I'll leave you with that, a rendered image of the whole thing. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, and I'll see you next